Well, it gives me great pleasure to bring on board Mrs. Neerja Birla to talk about the issue of mental health. Now, we know about it. We all want to fix it, but we never try to address it in a logical and a very programmed matter. If estimates are to be believed, currently 130 million Indians, they directly or indirectly suffer with mental health issues. The impact of mental health on India's productivity and GDP is expected to be about $1 trillion in next decade. And it is believed that 20% of Indians will have some issue, whether it's big or small, but a mental health issue in next 5 to 7 years. So to talk about the exemplary work Mrs. Birla and her foundation are doing, about the new campaign, and why all of us should really accept that mental illness is something which is not dangerous. It is something which is part of everyone's life. It is something which will make you better and add to your productivity level. Ms. Birla, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. Hope everything is fine, safe with your family and with your loved ones.
Thank you so much, Nikunj, for having me on this show. It's a pleasure. And yes, everyone is well, and all of us are now working according to this new norm, the new paradigm shift, and quite enjoying it actually under this new banner. So yes, things are good.
It's the first time I'm interacting with you, at least on the ET Now forum. So I'm sure you've been asked this question in the past, but I'm personally intrigued to find out that what really was that turning point for you that you are championing the cause of mental health?
So Nikunj, there was no real turning point. This is something that had been lurking in the alleys of my mind for a very long time. I've been working with schools, so working with children and parents, dealing with and seeing and hearing about different issues that that community has been dealing with. One's own personal experiences with mental health. So I think this is something that was meant to be. It had, like I said, it had been lurking. I'd just, not sort of taken the plunge. Until one of those 3 a.m. conversations with my daughter Ananya, and she said, this is something that you've been wanting to do since so long. Why don't we just do it and just just sort of plunged into it. Next day, called up a couple of people and said, let's get started. So it was, always there in my mind. One of those things that, I kept saying that, yeah, I'll do it. I just never sort of put my mind to it. And also because it just seemed, it was such an intimidating thought to get into an area which is so taboo, so stigmatized, never been done before. So it was quite overwhelming actually to, step into it. So honestly, I just sort of just dived deep right into it. And that's how 5 years ago, we started Mpower.
5 years ago you started versus now, what has been the growth, and did you get a lot of resistance? Did you get a lot of acceptance? 5 years is a time period for you to also share how the journey of your foundation has been.
So I must tell you, Nikunj, that when we started, honestly, we knew we were dealing with a mammoth task. We knew we were dealing with a taboo topic and an area that has really not been, explored at all. It was totally uncharted. Having said that, when we actually got into it, it was far worse than what I had expected. Just to give you a few pointers, the first press conference that we had all of 3 journalists turn up for it, literally 3 journalists. And, we'd obviously the team had spoken to a lot of people. Everybody had promised that they'll be there, but only 3 turned up. So, that itself, from there to now being on center stage itself is quite a journey. Whether it was reaching out to schools, whether it was reaching out to corporates, we faced resistance all along, expected resistance, of course, much more than what I thought we would receive. But I, can't complain. I think in 5 years, we've been able to slightly bring about a shift. We've actually at least started the paradigm shift, where now people are discussing it more openly. There's much more open dialogue about it. There is awareness that is creeping in. People are acknowledging it. So becoming a topic where we can at least, I mean, you and I are talking about it now. I can't imagine that we would have been able to do something like that 5 years ago. So it's been a journey, and it continues. Very happy with it. But yes, there was a lot of resistance, but it was expected.
When we compare the whole issue of mental health awareness, I'm using the word awareness here, at least in Western countries, there is acceptability to it. Do you see in India, there is still little acceptability, and the acceptability gets even worse when we are looking at addressing the mental health needs of people who need the most, especially youngsters, teenagers, unmarried people? Because if you go to a mental counseling, then you're considered to be somewhat not fit for the society.
Yeah, so of course in the Western world, though I think not all countries, but it is more accepted. Maybe in, like, say, in America, definitely it is more accepted. But there are a lot of countries still where, it is definitely not accepted. It is a conversation that one will not have. In India too, there is acceptance that is coming about, most certainly. But I think what we're really dealing with is two kinds of stigmas here. One is a social stigma where, people around don't want to accept it. But if you think about it, let's take a step back. And where does that really come from? It comes from a space of actually personal stigma, right? It's a perceived self-stigma, because one has always considered anything to do with the mind as a personal failing. So the minute you think you are dealing with a mental health issue, you yourself don't want to accept it. And so you don't want to accept it for yourself. And therefore you don't want, obviously then you kind of stigmatize it, and you become judgmental if somebody else is also going through it. So I think we all of us have to start with ourselves first. All of us need to first accept that, yes, if you are having an issue, it's okay. It's really okay not to be okay. So we have to first acknowledge it. And then will be the next step of where we don't judge other people also who are facing similar issues.
Your new campaign, Suno Dekho Kaho, with Mr. Bachchan, let's talk about it. What is the message you're trying to send across?
So the campaign Suno Dekho Kaho itself, actually, the name itself is very self-explanatory. We actually collaborated with Mr. Bachchan, and it was very, very gracious of him to come on board and lend his voice to this cause, having a strong voice and a strong personality like himself to advocate for a cause like mental health itself is very validating. So I'm extremely thankful to him to come on board and lend his support in order to create awareness about mental health and increase literacy around it. I think people are not sure that what are the red flags, what are the symptoms, when should one really go to the doctor, or whom should one go to. I think these are very basic things that awareness about it is lacking. The campaign Suno Dekho Kaho itself, like I said, is self-explanatory. Suno, we're urging people to listen to other people, to just give them a ear, because there may be people who want to talk about it. So listen to what they have to say. Dekho is to look around for symptoms. Sometimes there are symptoms that are not spoken about, a lot of unheard communication that goes about. So look for the signs. And Dekho, talk about it to people. If somebody approaches you, talk about it to him or her, and generally spread awareness about mental health. So the campaign itself, the word Suno Dekho Kaho, is something that we're here at Empower crusading very much to create awareness on mental health.
How has the world, in your understanding, because you look at data and you have understanding of what's happening to the mental health issues, how the world, according to you, has dealt with the COVID crisis? Because when COVID started, we all thought that it's going to break the spirit. There would be a lot of mental health issues. Is it true? Is it as scary as what we thought it would be in the month of March and April?
Most certainly, actually. A lot of people are grappling with a lot of mental health concerns, whether it is anxiety, whether it is depression, helplessness, uncertainty. So all of that is absolutely very true. I think we are sitting on the cusp of another pandemic. Actually, mental health itself is a pandemic, and I think we really need to throw a lot more light on it and address the issues sooner than later, because it is an area of concern. And we definitely have to, actively and proactively intervene and do the right things so that we're able to cope with what is yet to come. Having said that, human spirit is definitely very resilient. There is no doubt about it. And I think all around, if you see, we've all adapted to the situation very well. But, it has, of course, taken a toll. It comes with its own sets of challenges. So, though the human spirit is very resilient, we are very resilient people, but yet the challenges that this situation has thrown at us are also very real. So, most certainly, we are sort of sitting on the verge of another pandemic, and one has to really look into it and act on it fast.
What is the next milestone for your foundation and for Mpower?
The next one is we're also looking at opening centers. So we're opening a center in Calcutta very soon. We've also launched e-clinics, actually, because we wanted to reach out to semi-urban areas, also to tier 2 cities also. So we've opened out e-clinics in, like, say, Nasik, Aurangabad, and a few other cities in Maharashtra. And so we're trying to get that, we're trying to focus on that now. And so that we're able to reach, mental health facilities to the tier 2 cities as well. Why should we only restrict it to Bombay and the other urban centers?
You are also advocating a differential type of parenting, where you are saying focus on the abilities of the child. Do not force your child to be the best in the world, but make him fit for the world. I'm a father of an 8-year-old. So what is the parenting advice you would like to share with parents?
So yes, I do believe that, every child is very different. Everyone has his own sets of potentials. And what we need to do is focus on what the child is good at. So everybody may not be good at getting a grade A, or everybody cannot be a very good singer, or everybody cannot be a very good dancer. So each one has their own different capabilities, own talents, and why not focus on what that child is, good at, and what that child has a passion for, and hone that talent, so that the child excels and blossoms in his or her own space. I do, totally do believe that, and I think as a parent, I would say that you must encourage your child in the direction that the child wants to go. Let's not try and fit a square peg into a round hole. I don't think it's fair to do that to our children. Let them blossom, let them grow in the manner. I think we're here to nurture them. We don't own them. We're here as their caretakers, and we need to nurture them in a manner that is best suited for them, because that's when they're going to blossom.
Well, like Khalil Gibran always says, that you cannot control your child, their individual lives in between. Before we wrap, Mrs. Birla, if I take the clock 5 years back, Mpower has started. So I'm not going to take the clock back. I will take the clock forward 5 years from now. This is 2020. In 2025, if we are engaging in a similar conversation about Mpower and what they're doing, what kind of impact do you think you would have achieved, and what kind of size do you think you would have reached?
So I do believe that, we want to grow as much as possible in terms of impacting and reaching out to as many people. So I don't want to put numbers on that, because I would believe that the sky is the limit. And, we want to really help out as many people as we can. We do want to set up more centers. I do want to reach out to tier 2 cities as well. And I'm really hoping to take India on a global on the global stage as far as mental health is concerned. I think that we as a nation must be torchbearers in creating awareness and really talking about it and being, sort of being proud of the fact that yes, everybody world over does have mental health concerns, but we as a nation are doing something about it because we care for our youth and we want the next generation and generations after that to really do well and to their optimum.
So, closing comments, Mrs. Birla, can I say Empower is nothing else but your own philosophy in which you, in a sense, have been a parent? It is simply an extension of that?
I think Empower is, I guess, with, I've never really thought about it like that. But yes, actually, maybe because I think one wants to reach out to the world. And, I think that anything that you've started for an entrepreneur is always a reflection of your own ideologies, your own thoughts, your own beliefs, and your own experiences that has shaped your worldview. So I guess to that extent, yes, Empower is very much sort of an extension of me. But, here I want to add that we have a team of people who are absolutely like-minded, extremely passionate about what they do, and so committed that I think it's a collective dream of many of us actually who want to take it out there and reach out to as many people as possible.
I'm tempted to ask you one more question, so I'll take the liberty of extending my appointment with you. In your 5-year journey, what has been your happiest moment, and what has been a moment when you thought, oh my God, what am I doing? Why did I commit to this venture? What has been your low point?
So I think, any time and every time that somebody tells me that, the therapists at Empower are very good, or your team is very good, or that, we were really down and out, or my child was really down and out, but seeking therapy and going to Empower has really changed his life, or he's in a much better space now, or she's doing much better. So comments like this, where we get a feeling and I get a sense that, yes, what we are doing is reaching out to people and impacting their lives in a positive manner. I think all those are very high points for all of us at Empower. I think we all really look for those moments and look for those points of feedback that we do get from parents and teachers and all our different stakeholders that we are working with. I think each time, that's a reminder that, okay, it feels good. It sort of feels, it's a very good feeling, very fulfilling feeling. Honestly, I don't think that I've had any point in time where I've said that, oh my God, why am I doing this? I don't think that has happened. I think one is too passionate about it to, let that happen. But yes, there have been times when, when we've been trying to sort of get our points across and get people to buy in and people don't, then you feel a little let down, or you feel that, why can't so-and-so understand, or, why is it that they're taking time to convert, or why are they not taking on board? So only to that extent, but I've never, hit a point, so low a point that I've thought that, I shouldn't have ever got into this. So I think one is too invested in it.
So what is the day like in Neerja Birla's life? How much time does Empower take? How much time are you planning to give to Empower from your daily routine?
Actually, everything. I mean, I guess it's sort of interwoven, in my life. I think that's what happens when your passion and your hobby, the work that you do, all sort of is one. Then it really doesn't seem like work, So it's your work and your hobby sort of merge. That could be bad. That's a very good thing, but that could be times where you don't sort of put boundaries for yourself. So and whether it's Empower, whether it's the 2 schools that I look after, I think all of it just kind of consumes my day. I think I'm just sort of very involved in it and so passionate that, like I'm saying, the boundaries are quite blurred.
Well, Mrs. Birla, such a pleasure to have you on ET Now.
Thank you so much, Nikunj.